Most people today have heard of Merlin the magician, as his name has been popularized over the centuries and his story has been dramatized in numerous novels, films, and television programs. The powerful wizard is depicted with many magical powers, including the power of shape-shifting, and is well known in mythology as a tutor and mentor to the legendary King Arthur, ultimately guiding him towards becoming the King of Camelot. While these general tales are well known, Merlin's initial appearances were only somewhat linked to Arthur. It took many decades of adaptations before Merlin became the wizard of Arthurian legend he is known as today. Merlin and Ambrosius. It is common belief that Merlin was created as a figure for Arthurian legend. While Merlin the wizard was a very prominent character in the stories of Camelot, that is not where he originated. Writer Geoffrey of Monmouth is credited with creating Merlin in his 1136 AD work, Historia Regum Britanniae, The History of Kings of Britain. While a large portion of Historia Regum Britanniae is a historical account of the former kings of Britain, Merlin was included as a fictional character, although it is likely that Geoffrey intended for readers to believe he was a figure extracted from long-lost ancient texts. Merlin was paradoxical, as he was both the son of the devil and the servant of God. Merlin was created as a combination of several historical and legendary figures. Geoffrey combines stories of North Britannic prophet and madman, Myrdin Wilt, and Romano-British war leader, Ambrosius Aurelianus, to create Merlin Ambrosius. Ambrosius was a figure in Nennius Historia Britanum. In Historia Britanum, British King Vortigern wished to erect a tower, but each time he tried, it would collapse before completion. He was told that to prevent this, he would have to first sprinkle the ground beneath the tower with the blood of a child who was born without a father. Ambrosius was thought to have been born without a father, so he was brought before Vortigern. Ambrosius explained to Vortigern that the tower could not be supported upon the foundation because two battling dragons lived beneath, representing the Saxons and the Britons. Ambrosius convinced Vortigern that the tower would only stand with Ambrosius as a leader, and Vortigern gave Ambrosius the tower, which was also the kingdom. Geoffrey retold this story with Merlin as the child born without a father, although he retained the character of Ambrosius. In Geoffrey's version of the story, he included a long section containing Merlin's prophecies, along with two other stories, which led to the inclusion of Merlin into Arthurian legend. These include the tale of Merlin creating Stonehenge as the burial location for Ambrosius, and the story of Uther Pendragon sneaking into Tintagel where he fathered Arthur with Igraine, his enemy's wife. His was the extent of Geoffrey's tales of Merlin. Geoffrey does not include any stories of Merlin acting as a tutor to Arthur, which is how Merlin is most well known today. Geoffrey's character of Merlin quickly became popular, particularly in Wales, and from there the tales were adapted, eventually leading to Merlin's role as Arthur's tutor. His was the extent of Geoffrey's tales of Merlin. Geoffrey does not include any stories of Merlin acting as a tutor to Arthur, which is how Merlin is most well known today. Geoffrey's character of Merlin quickly became popular, particularly in Wales, and from there the tales were adapted, eventually leading to Merlin's role as Arthur's tutor. Merlin's love and death. Eventually, from the various tales emerged Merlin's downfall, at the hands of Vivian, the king of Northumberland's daughter. Arthur convinces Vivian to stay in his castle, under Merlin's encouragement. Merlin falls in love with Vivian. However, Vivian fears Merlin will use his magical powers to take advantage of her. She swears that she will never fall in love with him, unless he teaches her all of the magic he knows. Merlin agrees. Merlin and Vivian depart to return to Northumberland, when they are called back to assist King Arthur. As they are returning, they stop to stay in a stone chamber, where two lovers once died and were buried together. When Merlin falls asleep, Vivian places him under a spell, and traps him within the stone tomb, where he dies. Merlin had never realized that his desire for Vivian, and his willingness to teach her his magical ways eventually led to his untimely death. Merlin the Wizard's Legacy. In 2019, fragments of a rare manuscript published in the 1500s were found in the University of Bristol's Special Collections Library, detailing subtle but significant differences from the traditional story of Merlin the Magician. For example, the deaths of some characters in the stories are different from more traditional accounts, and there are more detailed descriptions of key events such as battles. These variations in the stories of Merlin are not too surprising because from Merlin's inception through the writings of Geoffrey, the wizard appeared in different forms through many subsequent tales, stories, and poems. Today, Merlin is most well known for being the wizard who tutored and taught the young Arthur, before he grew to become the King of Camelot. It was under Merlin's counsel that Arthur became the king that he was. While this legend continues on today, it is interesting to see the many variations of Merlin, from an evil wizard, to a shapeshifter, to one who met his downfall from teaching his powers to the woman he loved. This formidable and versatile character caught the attention of many people centuries ago, and continues to play a prominent role in today's storytelling.